he says marriage is by no means as bad as being alone with yourself, but it is still out of the frying pan and into the fire, and at least the fire might transform you. Thus, you get married if you have any courage, if you have any long term vision and ability to vow and adopt responsibility, if you have any maturity, and you start to transform the two of you into one reasonable person. And I thought that was really good, because of what that requires of you two. And then that's how you get and you create a legacy over the years, is those people making a decision to grow and to take on that responsibility and to uphold those vows.
Correct, Marcus. Married men have more to lose and are less of a flight risk.
I don't agree with that. I do think that they're less of a flight risk when it comes to money. They value money so much. But if we preach that women lose value by kids, if we preach that women lose value by all these things that guys say, her age, she loses a lot. She's lost that time. Now she can't get that guy that she used to get. She's used goods, as you guys call it. You guys can always get your money back up. She can't get that time. She can't buy back that time. You know, so I don't agree with. I mean, I agree that men do lose a lot, but I also agree that women lose a lot as well.
Now, we had talked about legacy before, and I saw somebody in the chat that says something about what is legacy. And I remember me and Inez had a difference of opinion on what legacy was, because I was saying it shouldn't or it doesn't have anything to do with financial. And her point to it was that it was. And recently, my mom and I were talking about legacy because, of course, we was talking about my grandfather again. And the thing that she had said to me that was so profound, I don't know where she got it from. And I was like, yes, that's what I was trying to say, is that she had said that people get mixed up with what legacy is and inheritance is. She said, you leave with an inheritance, you leave that for your children. Legacy, you leave in your children. And I just thought that that was so profound because I'm like, yes, because with my grandfather, he wasn't a man of many means. And I had expressed that before, is that what he left as a legacy was who he was as a man. He was the patriarch of the family, and his values and his character was what he instilled in each generation after us, which we still continue on to our kids. The legacy of marriage, that was important to him. You know, putting God first, those things were important to him. Treating others the way that you want to be treated, like all of these the values that make the person. That was his legacy that he left, and it didn't include any money at all. And I think a lot of times we place so much in the money, like you said, the love of money, that becomes the priority, and that becomes the legacy. And I just think that that is part of what we're seeing now, because in order to get the money, you have a lot of people that are not investing the time in the family to promote the character building, the legacy that really matters.
To carry
And I
on with their kids.
yeah, so that can go on for generations and generations to come. And I think that is part of the problem, is that when we prioritize the money and say the money is the legacy, so let me work, all of these hours a week, and then you're missing that time to instill certain things in your children, and you think that you're going to be able to buy them character or buy them values, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
So
So
I think what I was talking about with legacy may have been misunderstood a little bit, because to me, as a woman, and I would love to hear the men on this topic as well, as a woman, you you have to have both, right? Because legacy isn't just instilling character and values, it's also allowing the next generation opportunity to focus on their purpose, to have more doors open to them than the previous generation, to have something to continue to build on. If we're strictly leaving people with character and generation after generation, they have to build from the ground up. To me, that isn't any more legacy than leaving just inheritance behind. It has to be the two of them in tandem where we're leaving the next generation set up for success on all fronts better than the previous generation, and continuing the type of character that is going to continue to move that forward with each generation, where each generation adds a building block to the previous one. So to me, you can't have legacy without the values and character and morals, as well as some sort of financial backing that leaves them with a better starting point than you started off with.
It's like a foundation, almost. And I wanted to share a quote that I saw from Jordan Peterson, where he said that marriage is by no means as bad as being alone. Well, this was in arguments for, I guess, for marriage with men, like for men's reasons for getting married, by the way, because I wanted to see what the arguments were online. But he says marriage is by no means as bad as being alone with yourself, but it is still out of the frying pan and into the fire, and at least the fire might transform you. Thus, you get married if you have any courage, if you have any long-term vision and ability to vow and adopt responsibility, if you have any maturity, and you start to transform the two of you into one reasonable person. And I thought that was really good, because of what that requires of you two. And then that's how you get and you create a legacy over the years, is those people making a decision to grow and to take on that responsibility and to uphold those vows.
So I just wanted to share or see if anyone else remembers this, but it's a story or a poem that um, reflects on the fact that there was a couple that ended up, I guess the man, I don't remember if it was the couple that wanted to get divorced or just the man. But as the poem or story goes, they wanted to get divorced. However, there was a stipulation for a certain time period. The woman would greet the man at the door every day when he came home.
Oh, it's the 50s. I saw that.
Oh, okay. And he would have to carry her, let's say, to the bedroom every day for, we'll call it 90 days. I don't remember the time frame. And over the course of him doing this day after day, the first few days, it was like, oh, okay, I've got to do this, right? Just going through the motions. As the days passed and the days went on, as he carried her, he smelled her hair. He remembered what her hair smelled like. He remembered what the touch of her skin, the softness of her skin felt like. You know, it just the connection each and every day. And by the nearing of the duration of the time period that he was to carry her from the door to the bedroom, he fell in love with this woman all over again, realizing the slight and small nuances of his wife that he had forgotten. And so I guess the moral of bringing this up is sometimes marriage can be difficult, but if you just stop for a moment and just go back to the very beginning, right? What influenced, and what made you want to marry this man or this woman to begin with? And if you just stop and give your commitment and dedication, it's possible to fall in love all over again. So that was just my 2 cents.